We're going to do a quick guidance video. We're using a large wide funnel cup, alright, with this is the white clay Shisha Bros with the HMD, the studded HMD. So this goes for most of the HMDs. You can, whatever you're using, this this is the exact same or very similar. So this is what it looks like over there, and there's a cap for it as well, which allows you to open and close for vents and ventilation. Just so you know, this is where the airflow happens, and gives the charcoal a good combustion and airflow or access to the oxygen. So make sure when you making your sessions and doing all these things that those are what you want to look out for. Don't let them be blocked, etc. Right, then when I start making my bowl, I put my coconut coals in. So by the time I'm done, they are ready. So yeah, I'm using the Shisha Buzz coconut coals, which are like, I believe, the 20mm by 20mm. And yeah, so as I was saying, so this is a Kaloud Original Lotus Plus, and it's very similar, and also it's a bit more higher or deeper and a little bit more of a wider design to allow for the coconut coals and larger coconut coals to fit quite nicely. You can see these have the dots or mini studs at the bottom here for circulation. Those have the ridges. Okay, let's get on with it. So please do not leave the stove unattended. After about 4 to 6 minutes, you want to turn them over. Also, just make sure you spread them out quite nicely if you've got a stove like that. And if you start seeing the flame which comes on these coconut coals when you light them, then you either have to turn them or do not leave them on there unattended. If you leave them for longer than 15 minutes, you will in fact probably short the stove, or the element cracks and then it shorts. So you just want to prevent that, and these stoves are a little bit tricky in that sense, but for the most part they're okay. Okay, cool guys, so I'm going to be using a little bit of Fumari, and that is the ambrosia, alright, and alfagher. So most people will use the alfagher or nakhla, so I also like to sometimes use a nakhla peach, but my number one is nakhla double apple. So I'm actually I'm gonna be using the nakhla one for another video, but because this is a guidance one, and a lot of you guys who smoke alfagher have asked for some, I don't know, tips, or just the way that we pack our cups, etc. So I will use alfagher because of course the tobacco that you use will have a bit of a difference, the moisture, the tobacco cut, all of those things. So yeah, so just before you open up, give it a bit of a massage, let those juices get activated and flowing. And the same thing with the Fumari. And what I like to do is I like to do that there, and then from the bottom again up, and then just massage up and down once. Okay, cool. So I've got my Shisha Bros board right here, flavor board. It's a huge help, this. Okay, let's go. So you want your flavor or your tobacco level, right? The way you pack it, you want it to be quite I wouldn't say dense, but you want somewhere between a loose and a mid-dense pack, number one. Number two, you want a level at least 2 to 4 millimeters between the top level of your tobacco and where your HMD is going to sit. But now I'm going to show you the exact way to use the HMD as it was designed for and meant to be used. So that changes a little bit. The principle is the same, but now we want like a 1 millimeter space between the tobacco and the studs. So if you can make the session without actually getting these studs to touch the tobacco and just have a little space, you will get an awesome session. Not that you won't if it touches a little bit, because I also advise sometimes a 1 millimeter depth or 1 or 2 millimeter depth of the stud to be embedded in your tobacco. So yeah, mix it up quite nicely, get all those juices flowing. I'm using the Shisha Bro's Flavour fork. This thing is perfect for packing cups. It's small, and the curvature also allows you to like really separate and get the flavor well spread and separated. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to, when you put your tobacco in, right, you just want to like loosen it up a bit and open it, kind of just think of it as opening up the actual tobacco leaves. Now, I was saying the cut of the tobacco and the moisture, etc., is different. So I will show you exactly what I mean. So you can see one piece of Fumari tobacco, which their tobacco is characterized by large cuts. It's a blonde leaf, it's very moist. A lot of the flavor sits in the juice itself, versus some of the other tobaccos where a lot of the flavor is actually infused in the leaf itself. So that's one strand. Now let's just, since I got the Nakhla open here, Nakhla also used to be like this. Also used to really enjoy those sessions. But you can see it's still blonde leaf tobacco, but have a look at the size of the strands. Huge compared to the Al Fakhr and Nakhla cuts. Okay. So yeah, so you really want to open up these tobacco leaves. Now, as I just showed you, the difference in cuts, etc. So you want a larger surface area to be cooked, if I could say that. All these things are just also a matter of preference. There's obviously a few fundamental principles that you should follow to have a good session, and that's the things we're saying, like where there must be a space between the top level of your tobacco and your HMD, or if you're using foil, at least 2 to 4 millimeters, and then obviously making sure your hookah is airtight, making sure there's your pack on your bowl is not too tight, otherwise it's gonna be too overwhelming. Also, just remember, we wanna cook the tobacco, not fry it or not fry it or we don't want to we want to like fry it kind of thing. We want to have like an oven effect almost. So we don't want direct contact between the foil and your tobacco. That's the first main and important thing. So what I like to do is I like to a good guideline is to look at the bowl and see. If you look right there, you'll notice that you can't really see the bottom by the time I'm done with this first layer of tobacco. And of course I am mixing tobacco here, so I'm not just using the one flavor and brand or whatever. So that's why I put this bottom layer first, like this. And also it's another fundamental, guys, is that you want a good amount of air pockets between your tobacco spread. So what I mean by that is you want see the bottom surface of the bowl is covered like 95%, you could say. Then you have these little holes all over here, which will come just as you're packing it. Okay, yeah, you'll see there's a lot of holes which are evenly spaced out and spread out, so that's also good practice. You do get the methods of overpack, certain overpack methods. The traditional Arab style also is actually an overpack method, and the ones where you use the natural coal, etc. So there are different methods, but for the most part, like we're saying, this is good practice right here. This is just the normal basic way. So you can, if you like, you can also use your fingers or your hands. That separates the tobacco quite nicely. If you don't want to use a fork, or you don't have a fork, it's not too bad. So yeah, just spread out your tobacco quite nicely there. So you just, you know, as you're putting in your flavor, you just kind of want to like fluff it up, you know, fluff it up. Now the other thing, guys, I'm mixing in a kind of traditional way, but you see, with the innovation and entry of, you know, heat management devices like the Kaloud, being the original and first, or one of the first, is that you also now have a different or innovative way of actually mixing your tobacco flavors if you enjoy that. So you can literally mix, not in the traditional way, but for example, as you've seen our Fumari mix series, where 50% of the pot or bowl is one flavor, the other 50 is, you know, another flavor, not mixed together. And or you could go, you know, 75 and 25. Maybe you just want a hint of mint with whatever flavor you got. So that allows you to do that, because remember, the heat is now evenly distributed. It's cooking, you know, very regularly, or kind of in a regulated and very, very evenly spread fashion. So yeah. Now, as I said, with the actual recommended way of using the HMD, it differs a little. So what we're going to do is we're going to entrench the tobacco pack right here, and I'll show you what I mean. So, you know, don't worry, guys, if tobacco falls through the center, don't stress. I'm going to show you a neat trick that I learned from Fumari, you know, to sort that out. And that's also why you need a flavor board, guys. Seriously, this thing, it doesn't absorb a lot of the juice. It doesn't, you know, so even sometimes I use the board to mix flavors if I want to mix it before, like a pre-mix kind of thing. Yeah, and the other thing is, you know, you don't waste. You can just scoop up everything that's fallen out here very easily. Okay, awesome. Now this will, guys, this pack also, it's gonna work for most cups, this method right here. So most bowls, funnel bowls, or some people have the one with the lip, you know, with the little lip where the HMD, you know, seats itself quite nicely. But for the most part, these are all, it's all perfectly the same, and it will definitely work on most other funnel cups. Okay, so now a rule of thumb with a funnel cup is, so you want to pack your tobacco, and when you do pack your tobacco in here, okay, you want the level to be somewhat in line with the inner funnel opening. So I just like to fluff up my tobacco just before I pat it down again. So guys, this might look like a dense pack to you when it's done, but that's because, you know, the larger cuts of the tobacco when opened up will just have that look, but it's actually not dense at all. So just remember that. I just want to take some of the Fumari, and then you can just, even if you want, you can even just drop pieces like that in and then spread it out, you know. And yeah, you rather do it like that so that you don't waste, and you know, you just have how much you need instead of then having to take out at the end. Okay, so guys, this is where you probably want to get the, you know, get this. This is the most kind of key or crucial part when making your pack for the HMD. Now you can see I've got a good pack. It's fluffed up so it looks kind of like it's sticking out or whatever. Then what you want to do is, you know, just push your tobacco against here. So you remember I was saying you want to get the level of your tobacco on the inside, just within the same level of the opening of the funnel in the center. So, you know, just lightly kind of push your tobacco against it right there. so that you shouldn't really see sides of the funnel opening. Okay, then once you've done that, as you can see, now again, this is why this fork is so awesome, man. So you want to push your tobacco. Now on the outside, you just want to lightly press in or tap on your tobacco, okay? Just towards the wall, you know, the wall of the outer wall of the bowl. So you want to pack it just like that, okay? And then you can just lightly, once again, do it here in the for the inner opening of the funnel. And then this is the entrenching part that I was talking about. So you just want to create a trench, just not too wide, just a small little trench width, and then we just press up against the side one more time, not too tightly, because we still want those. Remember, we still want to maintain the good pack and air pockets, and yeah. So as this is going, you will know whether you may need to add or remove some tobacco. If the flavor is too overwhelming and it's overpowering, even to the point of where, for example, this tobacco or this flavor normally doesn't, give you a headache or something to that effect, and now you're feeling like it's so strong, it's also because now the HMD is making, direct contact, or there's too much heat inside there. So you gotta adjust, either remove the coal, open up the vents, or that with your next pack, don't pack so much, don't pack too little either, otherwise it's just not gonna happen. Okay, so quickly guys, you just want to measure or put your when you put your HMD over your bowl over here, you can see just about how much the stud will be over, or how far over the tobacco level or surface will the studs be sitting. So once you got that measured well, then it's gonna be a piece of cake for you from there, trust me. Alright, so I just need to add a little bit more on the one side. Okay, so guys, what you want to do now is, some people, if the coal is done, like mine's are done, they already put it in the HMD so that it can start heating up. And remember, with an HMD, guys, you're gonna have to wait for that first 5 minutes for it to heat up properly and start cooking the tobacco nicely with good heat delivery and temperature and all those things. So it probably won't smoke for the first couple of minutes because it's heating up. So yeah. And again, I'm not patting it down too hard, guys. I'm not, making this dense. I'm just tapping lightly down to create that trench. Awesome, done. Okay, last thing you want to do, guys, is now you can have a look at that. So you can, I don't know if you can see the entrenched kind of yeah, so it's like I don't know if you can see the entrenched kind of channel around, just around the outside of your funnel opening, and also, yeah, it's about the trenches. Another test, guys. You wipe this down quickly, just do a quick litmus kind of testing. Pop your HMD over this, okay? And when you pull it off, no juice, no strands of tobacco, nothing. So you know you're good to go. Hey guys, so for the moment of truth, so as I was saying, you can just do your quick test when you put your cloud on. Make sure it's clean underneath, right? And then lift it up. No strands of flavor, no juice. You are perfectly good to go. Okay, so what you'll do is place your HMD quite well seated and evenly across the entire bowl. And then this is a crucial part of also coal placement in terms of getting the best use out of your your HMD, and it is the exact way it was designed to be used. Now, as I said, I'm using the Shisha Buzz 2.5 sorry, the 2 millimeters by 2 millimeters. These are also really good value for money. It's a 1 kg pack, which costs you around like 60 bucks almost, just under. And they smoke quite nicely. They really surprised me, because the first time I used them and tested them, they weren't so grand. And then I just used them the other night, and I've been using it quite a bit. Now, the Lotus Plus was made and designed for a specific reason as well, and as I showed you earlier, it is a bit higher and wider, so that it can accommodate a bigger size coal. So some people use two of the big ones and then one of the flats. These are titanium flats, and that might fit perfectly for them. But these ones that I'm using, the Shisha Buzz and those Flavour's Land one, are perfectly fine, and they provide good heat. But you must just make sure that they're lit up 100% properly before putting them on. That's the difference. So there is a bit of an odor on the Flavour's Land one, but once it's fully lit, it's pretty fine. It's decent. It's not too bad. So yep, here we go. So I've lit mine up. Make sure they're nice and red. Okay, cool. Once they like that, okay, these are also perfect for cloud or for an HMD. So these are the same size as well as the blue mix. Okay, so once they're nice and red like this, this is how you should be using your HMD. You want to place them, you see those two air vents, or for the airflow, the vents right there. You'll put it over there. Okay, make sure it's nice and red, glowing amber, just over the vents. Right, and then this guy in over there. Awesome. And guys, patience is key here, because you gotta wait for this thing to to heat up nicely. It's not going to smoke for the first few minutes, probably about 5 minutes, and that can be frustrating. So once you've placed your coals in, you close your HMD, you put the cap over, okay, and you close it up just like that. Awesome. And then you want to leave it for about, as I say, 3 to 5 minutes. So while we're waiting, guys, other tips, as I was showing you, this is what happened to my first cloud, or HMD. Okay, and that was because I honestly just thought it was the way to be used, where the flavor was literally like, you know, coming up to the surface, as you can see, and it's a mission to clean, and it does affect your session after a while. So yeah, you want to make sure that it's not, so that you don't have this problem. Okay, then the other thing I will show you quick while we're waiting is that the original cloud, this is the original, we are the only authorized and online only distributors and stockers or resellers in South Africa of the original cloud. So all the others are generic or fake, and you have it right there. This is the Lotus Plus. As I was saying, it's higher and bigger to accommodate bigger cube sizes or coconut coal, and it's also a brushed kind of aluminium finish, so design change as well. Designed to be used with a funnel bowl, but you can use other bowls, and let us know how that goes if you do. So let us know what you think, guys. If you want us to make other videos, we will, you know, try our best, and with pleasure we would love to add and, you know, add to the Shisha culture and community. Yeah.